Hey, Joe Martin here. You've seen our commercials over the years, and you may be wondering, what's in it for me? Well, ITI Technical College has been selected by Forbes magazine as a top 32-year college. But even more than that, the reason we do this is you. Our tagline is, for a better life, and we mean that, for you to be able to have the life you've always dreamed about, to do the things for your family you've always dreamed about. And it can begin here, where we are dedicated to your success, because here at ITI, the reason we do it is you.
This is Sports 225 with Lee Feinswag, and I'm Lee Feinswag. We're in our 24th year, if you count Sports Monday and Sports 225, and the only way that could happen is, well, it's my show.
My best friend, Lee Feinswag, look at the Christmas.
Sports 225 is brought to you by Breck. And now, me.
Well, it's Sports 225, and I want you to take a look at me and Steve Schneider. You can tell one of us is at work. One of us is going to work, and how differently we dress.
You're trying to make me want your job. Is that what it is?
No, you don't want my job, but nor would I want yours, because you work too hard. You know, people don't know how hard your job is. And, before you jump in there, Steve, of course, is the sports director at WAFB Channel 9, the CBS affiliate here in Baton Rouge, and he's been in this market almost 40 years now. And people don't realize just how hard he works. I mean, it's amazing the hours that he has to put in, especially this time of year. You know?
Yeah. Training camp is an extra challenge because we do a lot of preseason stuff. 62 high school previews, a couple of specials on LSU and Southern, obviously lots of days at camp and that sort of thing. So, yeah, August, all the people are always like, I'm sure you're glad that football's back. And I always say, actually, I'll be glad when the season is here, because the month of August is, it's very challenging.
It's incredible. The Saints pull a little bit of your time away, but you guys are able to work cooperative measures with New Orleans people, right?
We do. As a matter of fact, Chris Hagan, who used to work with us, Garland Gillen, who used to intern with us, both are at Fox 8, Juan Kincaid, who used to be at Channel 4, who for years we dealt with. They're all at the Raycom station, which has the Saints games, which is how we get a lot of that programming and a lot of the games and that sort of thing. But I do still think that we need to have a presence there. Like, I expect that Jock, that Steve, that Craig will make regular trips to New Orleans, because I don't think it's a good idea to go on the air or on a social platform talking about something that you only watch from afar, that you just take the feed and you just get stories from other people. I think and we know that there's a lot of Saints fans in the Baton Rouge area, maybe not as many as used to be, but there's still a presence there, and all you have to do is get on, I-10 Sunday morning, day of a game, and you see just how many people go to those games. So, yeah, I think I went to camp 3 times. We went to both of the preseason games. We'll go to all the regular season games. Craig Loper does most of the coverage. Jacques is going for this week for the Tampa Bay game, because Craig's in Ruston with Southern, but I believe we should be down there a lot. So,
it actually probably was easier when they had training camp up in West Virginia. And you just, there you go.
I never made West Virginia, but I did do many, many years in lacrosse. And that used to be, the media has changed so much.
Didn't they go to Jacksonville once? Like
Vero Beach.
Yeah.
Vero Beach, back in the Tim Brando days. They went to Jackson, Mississippi. Early in Jacques' career, he was up there. That was when Sean Payton first took over. But yeah, like in lacrosse, lived in a dorm. Every morning you got up, you could have a one-on-one with anybody you wanted. Pat Swilling, Sam Mills, Jim Mora, the digital age with so many people covering these teams now, and the fact that they have their own media just has totally changed the game. So now it's lucky if we can get one-on-ones with anybody that we want to talk to, even during training camp when, things aren't as, condensed.
Well, that's not just limited to Saints football, of course. Remember,
no, that's everything.
We used to have a thing called Media Day for LSU football, where around the 3rd week of August, there would be a day, maybe a 2 to 3 hour time block, where the entire football team and its coaches would be spread out inside the LSU practice facility, and you could hustle and go do interviews with different people. I, of course, used to specialize in the special teams. We used to have some hilarious stuff with punters, place kickers, snappers, and holders, and it was so much fun. But it would give you an opportunity to archive things that you then could use for these specials. Like when you put together a special on LSU football, the half-hour show leading into the season, the man hours that go into something like that is staggering.
Well, and the philosophy has always been you call it a special for a reason. Like just getting the daily interviews that everybody gets where they don't let you talk to anybody one-on-one doesn't really make it special. So you have to do something to create that, expectation. I mean, we've been doing this since the 80s, this preseason LSU special. So people expect a certain, special feel to that show. So you have to get creative. You have to do things maybe outside the normal opportunities that you have now. So I think I told you I went to Spring Hill to do a piece on Devin White to kind of get his background, and that's something different off the beaten track that you can maybe throw into the show and talk to some maybe people who have been there before and done that, get their opinions and that sort of thing. So just another challenge on top of all the other ones that as you go along, you just take them as they come.
Steve and I were talking a couple of weeks ago before he was on his way to Spring Hill. And I said, yeah, I've been there once for a funeral. I said, it's up near Shreveport, in case you've never been to Spring Hill. When I thought about it, I actually think the funeral was in a place called Shongaloo, which is like suburban
right down
Spring
the road.
Hill.
I know that area well now after spending a couple of days there. And you get a lot of looks. There's not a lot of people who go through there and do media. Obviously, when Devin White was playing, there were a lot of coaches and great stories that I heard about, the way that the recruiting went and kind of some of the funny stories, how Will Muschamp flew into the Spring Hill airport and
I got this feeling it's not
rented a
bigger than
car
this room.
somehow at the Spring Hill airport to drive like 2 miles to the school to see Devin White practice. And the coach told me, why didn't you just call me? We send a tractor or a truck or something to come and get you. It would have been free. But that's why there's recruiting budgets, I guess. So
I got to check my Uber app and see if we got Uber in Shongaloo in Spring Hill, Louisiana. I don't know.
Cotton Valley,
we get out of here.
Sarepta,
Yeah, we got to get out of this first segment, but you did see our buddy Tim Brando, who you mentioned earlier, up on that shoot. And,
that's right.
Tim Brando, who worked for Steve in the 80s.
Is that right? Well, it's kind of right.
Yeah.
I kind of worked for him, then he worked for me.
Yeah.
Good guy.
He's Steve Schneider. You can follow him on Twitter at 9 Sports Director. You can watch him on WAFB Channel 9, which is really on my TV, Channel 1007 on cable. Anyway, and we got tons to talk about. I'm Lee Feitzwag. It's Sports 225.
Hi, I'm the human dislike button. You may recognize me as the guy who enforces rules at Breck Parks. Check out my amazing presentation. Did you know? Motorized vehicles are not allowed in Breck Parks. Sales and solicitation are prohibited without permission from Breck. And my favorite rule, keep Breck Parks clean by placing all trash in trash cans. Come on, you can do this. For more information about these and other Breck rules, please visit breck.org/HDB.
Back on Sports 225. I'm Lee Feitzwag, hanging out with Steve Schneider. He, of course, is the longtime sports director at the CBS affiliate WAFB here in Baton Rouge. I know I'll tell you this later, but remember you can go to sports225.com to get all the show listings of when we're on Your View, which is Cox 4 here in the Baton Rouge and surrounding areas, and on CST, where, believe it or not, you can watch it in San Diego and some places in Arkansas. And for those of you watching, hi, how are you? It's just kind of amazing that, today, of course, all the shows are archived at sports225.com, and so they can go watch the shows, whatever. And a friend of mine in California the other day said, I mentioned some reference to Sports 225 in a text, and he said, "What's that?" And I just sent him a link, and he was like, "Wait, you do TV?" Well, it's, like I said, I'm dressed for work, he's dressed for work.
Yeah, the thing fascinating for me is the number of apps that have come out, all the social media apps. Of course, we have interns in the door every semester who are college kids, and there seems like there's a new one every day. It's become like the shotgun approach to getting your message out, right? Like a shotgun just sprays stuff everywhere, and
Like shooting a duck, you mean? Like, and hope that the 1 or 2 pellets kill the duck, you know?
It's all these apps are shooting out all these messages. It's hard to keep up with it, but.
Yeah, but isn't there a part of you that your senses are just offended by all that? That nobody, you know, you go to a sporting event now, and especially you young whippersnappers, sports writers and stuff, they don't even watch the game. They're just on the computer, and they sort of look up once in a while because they're tweeting every play.
Right. Well, I definitely think overkill. I think is
Yeah.
you know, and I, you know, I'm probably not in the majority because I see a lot of people who do that, like, you know, tweet about every single play or every single thing and a lot of stuff in between. I'm just, you know, I just have a hard time comprehending how the consumer can digest all that and, you know, that it has any relevance. There's certainly some really cool things that come across, make me laugh, make me think. But there's so much stuff that comes across that I wish I had that 2 or 3 minutes back that I, you know, spent looking at it.
So I watched the LSU football game on television in Houston on Sunday night. I was over there visiting friends, doing stuff, and then watched the game. Now, the one thing that's good about football, and one of the reasons why I think so many people are attracted to football, is because it's such a slow game. And what I mean by that is a play occurs, and then there's a really long time until the next play. So you can remember the play.
Unless it's Auburn.
Yeah, well, you know, but the game, you know, or Mississippi Valley back when, you know, whatever. But the point is you know, at the end of a game, you remember most about a football game more than other things because it's so slow. I mean, if you ever want to do this, by the way, if you've got a good remote control, tape a game, VCR it, DVR it, one of those things, and go as fast as you can from the time a play ends to the next snap. And you can watch a football game in like 18 minutes.
Yeah, I can give you a good example. You know, Sportsline Friday night, we go out and shoot all these high school games, right? And we usually shoot a half of one game and a half of another game, right? And we don't roll the whole time. We only roll on the plays.
Right.
So when we archive all those plays, in case we ever need extra plays, the average game's 8, 10, 12 minutes per half.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it's 24 minutes of playing time. It's more like an hour or an hour and 15 minutes on the clock.
It's sitting around
and
time.
It's boiled down to like 8, 10, 12 minutes.
Well, so where I was going with that was back to social media. That's where I started that's why I brought that up.
That's right.
It took me a while to get here. So at a couple of points during the first half, I got on my phone and looked to see what people were saying on Facebook and Twitter, assuming I would, you know, see the people who I'm Facebook friends or followers on Twitter who
get the reaction.
Yeah, LSU football. And, of course, the same people who at the end of the game were beating their chests were the same ones already calling for coaches to be fired and thinking it was the end of the world when it was 3-0. You know,
when they burn 3 timeouts in the first 12 minutes of the game, right?
Yeah. But, you know, and it's, so what, right? I mean, you know, maybe those timeouts could have come in handy. You know, if you had those 3 timeouts left and you had the ball with 1.5 minutes to go and you decided to run out the clock, which I never understand. Maybe would you have approached that last 1.5 minutes differently?
Look, I'm all for, you know, we've seen how many years of really bad clock management, okay? But I also was at, you know, high school football games the first week where some of the teams couldn't run a play without getting a flag. Like, kids don't know where to line up, they don't know to get the snap off in time and stuff like that. And obviously, college is a little bit more refined level, but it's a bunch of new guys who've never played together, who've never played in this system, who've never done it for real. And, yeah, could they have been a bit prepared better? Sure. But, I mean, you know.
How about the...
If you've played sports, you know that one play, that one mistake doesn't define the player that you are or the result you're going to get in the game. So, and if I sound like Nick Saban, I'm sorry.
That sounded very too heavy philosophical. Well, speaking of which, since it was a topic, let's just finish with the segment with that. So at the end of the Alabama game, Maria Taylor, the former volleyball player at Georgia, who's doing a great job at ESPN and ABC, interviewed Nick Saban, asked him a question about the quarterback, and he got a little huffy about it. And she was like, okay, I get it, let's move on. I watched it. I didn't see it live. I watched it, and I said, it's nothing. It's just somebody interviewing a coach right after a game, and Saban being Saban, who I didn't think he was rude to her at all, and I don't think she took offense to it. But then it became a big cause celeb, and he, you know, made a big deal of it, calling her to apologize. But they probably have each other's cell phones anyway, and he probably called her and said, "Hey, Marie, I'm sorry, I just came out." You know, that's my guess on that thing. You know,
it's the world we live in. Some of the things that get the most attention are the least significant things that happen. I mean, you know, we went through that, right? Marcus Randall, Jamarcus Russell, quarterback controversy. He blew up at us for asking the questions, and, you know, don't recall him ever issuing an apology for doing it. Maybe it's because it was on national TV, maybe because it was a female reporter. I mean, I don't think he was extra ugly to her because she's female. I think he's like that pretty much any time the topic comes up and he doesn't want to talk about it. And it's the way he was here. And how many years later is this? This is 16 years later. He's doing the same thing. So
and that's the price
it just plays more because, you know, there's the SEC network
right.
and they like to, you know, promote the coverage that they do and the people that they have. And so that's the way things are now.
I think part of it too is interviewing somebody as soon as a sporting event ends. You run that risk. They don't have the 10-minute cooling off period before a news conference, which we certainly get goofy things there too, but you never know.
Yeah, one of my least favorite things is the in-game interview that television has created.
Yeah. How about the end of half interview from a coach who's getting his ass kicked? Well, coach, you're down 4 touchdowns. What are you going to do? Never mind. All right, we're way over. He's Steve Schneider. I'm Lee Feinswag. It's Sports 225.
Hi, I'm the human dislike button. You may recognize me as the rules guy for Breck Parks. Sometimes the rules slip past us, so I put together this amazing presentation. Did you know? Golf practice is only allowed at designated golf facilities. Firearms, explosives, and weapons are not allowed on Breck property. Metal detecting is allowed in some parks, but go to Breck's website to learn more about this and other park rules. For more information, visit breck.org/HDB.
There's music. We're back on Sports 225. I'm Lee Feinswag, hanging out with Steve Schneider, the longtime sports director at WAFB, who he's so busy. He's busy at work. He's busy playing husband, dad, grandpa. You know, people forget that in addition to everything else, we got real lives. Especially you. Not, I mean, again, look at me, look at him. You know.
Yeah, but you know, it's what you sign up for.
Right.
It's, you know, when we have college kids come and intern or high school students that I speak to, I tell them it's a trade-off. It's, you know, in a way, it's the greatest job you could ever have because you never feel like you're working. You're just doing things that you enjoy and, you know, have fun with. But you do sacrifice some things, you know. We've had interns who quit. Wait a minute, you have to like work every night and every weekend? Unless they start playing LSU versus Miami on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, I think that's pretty much what's going to happen.
Still the best time ever was that Northwestern State LSU football game after Gustav when they played at 10 in the morning on a Saturday. That's what I'm talking about. So excited about that long-awaited LSU Southeastern Louisiana football tilt, you know, because they throw out the record books when those two teams meet.
Well, look, you know, it's what college football has become. How many of those games did we have last Saturday? At least there were a few games that were worth watching. But I'm interested to see, you know, some of LSU's young players. They'll get to play this game, and if they do, you know, some good things, then they'll get a chance to play some meaningful games because Auburn's the next week, and you need to know who you can rely on, especially if Auburn's pace makes that defense, you know, run around a lot. So I'm especially interested to see some defensive guys, some freshmen, some guys who haven't played yet, see what they do.
What'd you draw from the LSU-Miami game?
Kickers.
Nice.
Cole Tracy, Avery Atkins. I mean, when you cover camp, you going to do anything on the kickers? No, because they don't do anything when you're out there, or they hide in the indoor. You don't see them, right?
Unless we had media day and
right.
Sports
and then you would talk to them.
Okay, there you go.
And of course, you know, they're interesting to talk to, and I think that was the thing that struck me at player interviews after this game, is you're getting some guys who really, you know, they're older guys who, you know, can give that element to a football team, you know, that certain, and not that Danny Etling and some of those guys didn't do that in the past, but, you know, when you see these graduate transfers come into your program, they speak well, they get it, they're not, you know, they're guys you can count on, that you can rely on, and I think that was probably the biggest takeaway from the game, is that these guys, these unknown quantities, they're actually guys who, you know, you can hang your hat on, and now it's going to be interesting to see what they do when it's SEC time in a week.
Well, on one hand, you could say, well, that's why there's a reason they transferred. On the other, we always say, like in basketball, give me a team that's got a couple of seniors who are decent players. Well, here you have guys who, like you're talking about,
right,
who have been through the ropes.
And I know that some people were upset that Joe Burrow got the quarterback job, but, I mean, he's proved that he's capable.
A, who would be upset, and B, was that ever in doubt when he came here?
Well, I guess we heard some of the team members.
Well, two quarterbacks that for sure were upset because they left.
Yeah, and some of their teammates who were their buddies and stuff like that. And look, Miles Brennan still got a long time before he has to leave, and Lowell Narcisse had a long time. But you understand his situation. He hadn't taken a snap in 3 years. He needs to get on the field and play and not sit for another year. Sure. So you understand that. But I mean, this is a guy who's got the composure and the leadership quality, and he's taken 3 hours. Is that right? This semester, he basically is majoring in football. Okay,
after my own heart.
The last time that they had that was Mettenberger, when he took 3 hours his senior year and majored in football, and they had a pretty decent, not a great, but a pretty decent offensive season. So, I mean, this was obviously the right choice. Mm-hmm. Took a little, discussion and sorting out to get to it, but if he can stay healthy, then I think he can do some good things.
Well, I'll leave you on this as we go to this final break.
Yes.
There are two things about Joe Burrow. One was he went 11 for 24. And he wasn't terrible. He wasn't great. He made passes that I'm sure if you asked him, I should make. He didn't do anything spectacular.
Nope.
11 for 24. And the other thing is he will get hurt. I don't wish ill on him, but no quarterback makes it through without getting hurt. So,
and it's 2 years we're talking about. So, yeah, probably within 2 years he'll have some kind of injury.
Well, but I mean, every quarterback gets dinged. So, when's the last time you remember an SEC quarterback making it through a whole season without getting, hit and knocked out for a little while? Not literally, but you know what I mean. So.
And then we'll see Miles.
There you go. We got one segment left. He's Steve Schneider. I'm Lee Feinswag at Sports 225.
Well. Looks like someone forgot all neighborhood Breck Parks close at dark.
You want another?
I think they'll pass. Amplified music and sound is prohibited without permission from Breck. No alcoholic beverages on Breck property. Smoking of tobacco products is not allowed. Use of fire is prohibited except in grills. Gotta remember, Breck wants you to have fun, but in the right way. For more info, go to breck.org/HDB.
Coming down the home stretch of another Sports 225, hanging out with Steve Schneider. Go to sports225.com for the show listings of when we're on Your View, Cox 4, and on CST. First airing is 7 a.m. Friday on CST, shown in something like 18 states. Thanks to John Williams from JCW for directing the show, and for you for being here. Thank you so much.
How many is this that I've been on now?
Oh, my gosh. Do you realize this is the 24th year of Sports Monday / Sports 225. 24 years. As I've told people, how have you been on the air that long? I said, well, I own the show. They can't fire me. I mean, no matter what. I guess I could be like 92 doing this thing. I guess I'm just sitting here, But
always enjoy it.
When you think over 24 years, there's a lot of years when you've probably been on like twice. We try to, I think of the show like in terms of semesters, fall and spring. So, never have you on more than like the fall and the spring. So
maybe pushing 50.
Yeah, at least 40 probably,
Seen a lot of interesting stuff in those 24 years.
We've had some good conversations and some inane things. I mean, we've both been, when you've known each other this long and you're friends outside of just this, there's so many things that have happened in both of our respective lives, that we and then categorize and link to different sporting events, in terms of how that goes. So, quick plug for Friday nights, because that's still the best thing on television.
Well, it stood the test of time for sure. This is our 29th year, so next year will be 30 years. Hard to believe that's occurred, but it's 40 minutes. It's kind of like hurricane coverage with a positive outcome, basically, is the way I like to describe it. Just everything flies by like the wind's blowing, but we love doing it. And you alluded at the beginning of the show, a lot of the work that we do is the prep. Mm-hmm. Right, you got to get the hay in the barn before you go out there and turn the lights on, and so we've spent the summer doing a lot of that prep work, and then when the lights come on and it's time to play, it's really a lot of fun to do. So,
well, Sportsline Friday night on WAFB Channel 9, which is really my 1007 I don't know.
And the app, the Red Zone app.
And there you go. And, Stephen and Jacques Doucet do a great job on that. Thanks, as always. It's always fun for us to catch up.
Thank you for having me, man. Enjoy it.
We made it a full day. We broke bread. We did TV. We hung out, me and Steve. Thanks, everyone, for watching. This has been Sports 225.
At carnival time by Baton Rouge Bay, that's the site of my story. At Spanish Town Mardi Gras, things can get blurry. See the mowers marching, prizes fill the sky. This Spanish Town Mardi Gras